song, yeah, 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 a song for the song, yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So we got my brother up in here, Dillio. Check him out. Dope, multi-platinum, Grammy-winning producer. I definitely wanted to ask you about that because I saw that on your IG. You was like, oh, I'm putting that in the air.
It's putting that in the air. That's what it's supposed to put it in the air.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing music?
I've been doing music since, I'll say the age 6. I grew up with a lot of musicians in the family on both sides. And then my mom played piano. I had cousins play piano. Grandparents had instruments in the house. I've been playing from a very long age. And it wasn't until I was the age of 14 where I got my first device where I could make beats on was a Yamaha PSR 510.
Word. So how long were you? Because I know we met through, and shout out to Busy Work Beats.
Busy Works Beats.
You already know my guy.
Yeah.
How long have you been on YouTube?
I've been on YouTube for a long time. About 2006 is when I first got on there.
So basically, when the YouTube inception, basically.
Yeah, basically.
When it first started, when you had the star rating.
You had the star rating. The wine cone was popping on there at the time. Basically really close to the beginning. So 2006, 2007 when we first started.
So 15 years, it's just like me.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of work, right?
It's a lot of time, a lot of life, a lot of time, a lot of content, a lot of figuring it out, grinding.
And how much have you seen the landscape change of YouTube?
Before it was our thing. It was kind of like low key, kind of underground, which I thought it was cool early on. So it was very low key, and it seemed like there's a lot less competition, a lot less extra stuff. And one time, a lot of interaction with celebrities and things. Before it was a premium to interact with celebrities, but celebrities would see some of my content. Like for instance, like I did a one of my verse videos that actually went viral was a talk box video where I did T-Pain. It got a lot of views, and I did a video with Soulja Boy doing talk box. That got a lot of views, and it went so viral that when they interviewed T-Pain about different people on YouTube doing music, they featured my talk box video on his interview when he was popping out, when they was talking about him using auto-tune. So the landscape has changed. Obviously more corporate now. It's the cat's out of the bag now. So it's everybody's, but back then it was like our own thing, and it was cool. But it's still cool now, but it's more grind and more work to build that platform.
The level of competition has stepped up, I think, for the better.
Yeah.
As far as like feedback or anything like that, I from what I've seen, because just like you, I was doing remixes and so forth.
Yeah.
And before they started doing the copyright claiming.
Oh God, yeah.
At that time, copyright strikes.
Yeah.
So.
And there was a time where you could just sample whatever you want or throw whatever you want. You didn't have to worry about audio tags and audio thumbprints and stuff like that, just cutting you down. It was the Wild West. You could do whatever you want. But then things started to change, and now you got to be a little bit more careful. You got to chop things a little bit. Got to be a little bit more obscure, or make stuff from scratch like how I did my remakes to get through that algorithm with them taking it down thumping. Even then, sometimes I made stuff so accurate because I was using the exact presets that it still got flat.
Yeah, I know that's the biggest struggle. But what advice would you give anybody that is inspiring to be on YouTube?
I think the first thing is that stop worrying about perfection. Stop worrying about equipment. Everybody has a film studio in their pocket. And honestly, advice, if you're worried about anything, what first equipment you get yourself a light. Light yourself up, because the more light you have on yourself, the better the camera will make you look. And that's the first thing I would advise. Second thing is get consistent. Find something that's easy to do, repeatable. Don't go into full film production. Don't try to produce the next X-Men or next Marvel hit or next Disney. Don't worry about all that. Find something that you like to do. Produce it well. Be consistent. Be able to rinse and repeat. Be patient. Take time. Get some content on it. Don't stop at 1 video. Don't stop at 5. Minimum I heard on YouTube is like get you at least 30 videos so you can get you some data. Now that when you got some data, you can make some more decisions and see if you want to keep messing with it. But it's a lot of different things, but that's what I would tell somebody starting out.
Yeah, I find one thing I know, because I've had poop quality videos for quite a while.
Right, I feel it.
In terms of like videos.
Yeah.
I noticed that, yeah, you can have a pretty bad camera or whatnot. I think it's more so about personality.
Yeah, personality.
And maybe, if anything, like audio. You can't get away with bad audio.
No, you can't get away with bad audio.
Especially in our field. It's
yeah.
like...
yeah, I have friends call me out, like, hey, man, you need a lapel up or something to get some more audio. And it's like true, sometimes I didn't feel like dealing with the wiring and stuff like that. And sometimes I didn't have tools to make that very convenient. Now I got tools, now I can process, I can wear a headset to keep everything nearby so I can get a good audio sound so that it can cut through the phones so people can hear it on the cell phones. And yeah, but definitely audio, if anything, I would prioritize your audio more than your visual, because a lot of times people play a video, set it down, do their work, and listen to it. You know, so definitely audio is a key thing.
So you got some chops on the keys, you came and you blazed it, you even put vocals in the beat and chopped that up.
Yeah.
Like what was your first startup equipment? I have to ask everybody that, since we're music production and whatnot, what was the first thing that you started making tracks on?
Right. So the first thing wasn't even equipment. It was 2 tape recorders. Where you could record one part and then I would play that part and then record another part at the same time on another tape recorder and bounce back and forth. 'Cause that's what I had as a kid. And my official first hardware that I was able to have myself was a Yamaha PSR 510. This was 1996. But because there was instruments in the house, it was for my parents, so it wasn't mine. So I was still playing on it. So I didn't really have my own thing until 1996. But then I didn't have access to an MPC. Where I was from, no one was telling little old me about an MPC at the time. So I learned to kind of try and sample on Cakewalk on a computer, because thankfully my parents had a computer in the house. And I had a cousin who passed some software to me, so I was messing with Cakewalk, Little Drummer Boy, Hammerhead, those type of sequencers. The Hammerhead is like the precursor to what FL Studio is today, by having that grid with 16 notes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was watching MTV, so I was very big into drum and bass, putting them Amen breaks up in there, which was built in. I was like, wow, that sounds like what I heard on MTV. And I was hooked after that. But to answer your question, long story short, first equipment that I had was a Yamaha PSR 510.
So you never played with the MTV Music Generator or anything like that on the PlayStation? I always ask everybody that. Right.
I did mess around with that. I probably did mess around with that. Like I did, yeah, I remember that. It was like a blue CD case. Yeah, so I did mess around with that and play with it, but I still had other stuff around the house. So while it was cool to do that on the PlayStation, or the time I didn't have the PlayStation, I had other keyboards and other stuff to play with. Yeah.
So we just checked out the MPC Key 61.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts?
First thought, ASR 2.0. Because it's the form factor of the keyboard, but it samples. So my first thought was, oh wow, now I get to have my generation's version of an ASR 10, but it's really the MPC 61 keys. And I was like, this is really cool, because now you have more tools at your disposal that's integrated into an already robust platform. So that's my first thought about it. It was like, wow, it's like a sampling keyboard. Let's see what it can do.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it, we was just talking about one thing, and I guess we could kind of pivot off into the whole hardware software thing. And we was talking about the differences in hardware and software, and just trying to welcome in the generation. Like what is the best thing? Because we talked about the instances of no email and all that stuff. No YouTube, the distraction.
Yeah. And that's the thing, when we transitioned over to working on computers, the one thing that we had was, we had all this power, but we also had everything else with us in the box. So while we're looking at FL Studio making this beat, if you come into a little bit of robot, okay, let me see who liked my picture on Facebook. Let me see what's out on YouTube. Let me see who emailed me. Let me check this work email. Did this come through? So you had these distractions. And what I liked was that we kind of went back a little bit before we had all that, where you had a box in front of you, you could zone in on that. You didn't have a YouTube tab, didn't have a Facebook tab, didn't have all that. And you could just lock in on there. Everything's in front of you. And now it's just you and your equipment. You can create and you can listen, because back then the MPC 2000, you just had a dot matrix display. So you really had to listen to it more than you looked at the numbers on the screen to see if it felt good. And that's how it was.
Yeah.